Hey guys, I am Dave Magid here from Minnesota Legal Assistance. Today I'm going to speak to you very briefly on the FCRA impact on employment applications. Okay, so credit reports matter for getting a job, and the FCRA is the main federal law that governs how credit report information can be provided and how corrections to credit report information can be done by consumers and enforced by consumers, okay? So the first element that I want to discuss is that an employer must ask your permission in order to obtain a credit report, okay, or a background report. And that requirement comes directly out of the FCRA. The FCRA requires that the business provide you with notice that they're going to actually pull your credit report. The way that employment applications happen today is that you will find that it is this request for pulling your credit report is buried in terms, okay? So like you will really have to read through that information, and this has kind of been written out of the law from a functional standpoint, right? So like people are desperate to find a job, they're clicking through applications very quickly, they're not taking a reasoned approach, reading through all the terms and conditions, and this is buried in the click wrap to those online applications, but it's in there, and it's important that it's in there because you will read through that if you want to take the time. You will read through that and you will quickly discover, oh, they're pulling a credit report on me. Okay, this might not impact your credit in any way, but they're looking. That's in there. And that credit report is one element of kind of this overall background report that they're doing, right? So they might pull your credit report. They might also pull some criminal information from other third-party consumer reporting agencies, such as I know LexisNexis has a ton of business in this area. Credit reports obviously is TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, and those credit reports reflect your financial status. So it may determine how much they want to pay you, right? I mean, like, if they can see whatever they can glean from your credit report, that might make a determination on how you get paid. So this is really, really important information, and I don't think people realize how important it is, and how this information is being used, frankly, against somebody, right? I mean, that information, the company's goal is to pay you as little as possible to have you perform, and information in your credit report can be used in making that process. So this isn't paranoid, this is reality. And it's very important for that reason that your credit report accurately reflect your actual financial dealings. Finally, the criminal portion, this again, you can obtain this information. The source I would go to first is quite frankly LexisNexis. I've got somewhat of a humorous story on this, in that I was litigating a case where I pulled some sample Lexis reports, and I quickly found out that Lexis was reporting that I had a criminal history. Thank God it's not true, but that I was involved in a fatal bicycle accident, meaning I was the one riding the bicycle and apparently, somehow managed to kill somebody with a bicycle, and was sentenced to a misdemeanor, or convicted of a misdemeanor, and fined $150 in Charlottesville, Virginia. This is the crazy stuff that ends up in these criminal information reports. Now, I was an officer in the military, and I went through a background check as a result of that, and I assure you that none of that actually occurred. And would it have, the military certainly would have discovered that information. I know that federal agents actually did interview people who had spoken to me. Members of the FBI actually went around and talked to them. So, the FBI and the military was certainly smart enough to get around that. But had I been applying for a different job, would that have had an impact on it? And it potentially could have. If I ever found out about that information at all. So that's really important to not only be looking at your credit report, but also kind of looking at these other third-party organizations which are tracking information about you. Again, I wish I had additional information on where you might find that information, but it is required to be disclosed to you in going back to the fine print where a particular employer may obtain that information is required to be disclosed to you in the terms or that request for your permission to obtain that information. So that's why those terms really do matter. So if you're turned down for something, that might be something where somebody may want to look and say, well, it's weird. I felt like I was really qualified for this job. They indicated that I was all but hired, and then suddenly they withdrew it. Could that be a market decision? Yes, it certainly could, but could it be something else? You might want to look back on those terms that you originally agreed to and figure out, hey, where did they obtain these reports? And to the extent that you need assistance with that, that's why we're here. That's why Minnesota Legal Assistance exists. Come in. We're reliable professionals, which hopefully can help you walk through many of these processes. So it's really important to rely on individuals that have some expertise, and I encourage you to reach out to us. So again, Dave Madgett with Minnesota Legal Assistance. We're here to help. I would encourage you to hit subscribe, learn more about your rights under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, what the Fair Credit Reporting Act is, and how it can protect you as a consumer, as an employee, and generally as an American. It is chock full of highly important information, and I'd encourage you to know your rights under it. Thanks again.